Hello everybody, welcome to the I Am IT YouTube channel. My name is Shabazz and as ever, I am the IT Geek. Welcome back to another episode within my Microsoft SE100 Cybersecurity Architect exam topic series. We are in topic 13, we're about halfway through topic 13 now. I've got 14 and 15 to go from topic perspective, so we're trying to get through all this now and kind of come to an end of this series. It's been a long one, obviously 15 topics. It's going to be obviously multiple episodes in each topic, multiple parts to each topic. So we're very much focusing around Defender for Cloud in this topic, specifically posture management. So that really, let's get started with this episode. So as I mentioned, this is the SE100 Microsoft Cybersecurity Architect exam topic series. This is topic 13, part 3. And this topic is around designing solutions for security posture management in hybrid and multi-cloud environments. So today we're going to focus on two areas: design cloud workload protection solutions that use Microsoft Azure Cloud. Then we'll talk about designing a solution for integrating hybrid and multi-cloud environments by using Azure Arc, and that's what we're going to focus on within our demo. Do a bit of an overview of Azure Arc and some of the features. I've not actually got anything multi-cloud on premises to integrate to it, so if you want to really see how it works, I've got an Azure Stack HCI series, and that very much I'm working within Azure Arc, so you'll see Azure Arc and how it works in there. I'm going to try and do what I can with the sort of resources I've got. So let's start talking about designing cloud workload protection solutions that use Microsoft Defender for Cloud to start with. So Microsoft Defender for Servers extends protection to your Windows and Linux machines that run in Azure, Amazon Web Services, AWS, and GCP, which is Google Cloud Platform, as well as on-premises. So Defender for Servers integrates with Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, which is within Defender XDR, and that provides endpoint detection and response, or EDR capabilities, and other threat protection features as well. As you can see, this slide, this essentially summarizes sort of Defender for Server deployment process. So let's talk about foundational CSPM first. So there are no charges when you use the foundational CSPM. It's sort of the basic plan it's free essentially, because it's got no plans enabled by default. From an AWS and GCP machines perspective, you don't need to set up, you don't need to set them up with Azure Arc for foundational CSPM, but with on-premises, you do need to do some setup. There are a couple of foundational sort of recommendations that rely on agents as well, including the anti-malware endpoint protection, log analytics, or Azure Monitor agent. Now, log analytics will be depreciated. The OS baseline recommendations as well, which again needs the Azure Monitor agent and the guest configuration extension, and the system updates recommendation, which needs the Azure Monitor agent as well. You've then got the sort of when you want to start protecting your resources. So when you open the Defender for Cloud in the portal, as we've seen, it'll start protecting resources with that free foundational CSPM assessment and recommendations. And then Defender for Cloud creates a sort of default log analytics workspace as well with the sort of security center free solution that's enabled. And then you'll see recommendations that start to appear in the portal, like we've seen when we've done some demos. And then the next point is around enabling Defender for Servers then. When you enable a paid planner, we've seen how to do that, I think, in previous demos already. Defender for Cloud will enable a security solution on its sort of default workspace. And then you enable Defender for Server Plan 1, which is subscription only, or Plan 2, which is subscription and workspace. And after enabling the plan, you can decide how you want to then install those agents and extensions on Azure VMs in your subscription or work group. By default, auto provisioning is enabled for some of the extensions. Once you're obviously starting protecting resources within Azure, you can then start to protect AWS and GCP machines as well. So for Defender for Servers deployment, you can set up a connector, or you need to set up a connector, and then turn off plans you don't need as well, which is quite important. Otherwise, you will get charged for them if you know. You can configure auto provisioning settings, authenticate to AWS GCP, and then deploy those settings as well. Auto provisioning does include agents used by Defender for Cloud and Azure connected machine agents for onboarding Azure with Azure Arc. You have AWS, which uses a cloud formation template, and then you have GCP, which uses a cloud shell template. And then again, you'll start seeing recommendations appear in the portal as well. And then finally, it's about protecting those on-premises servers, so you can onboard them as Azure Arc machines and deploy agents with auto provisioning. So that's kind of a different steps for protecting servers with Defender for Cloud, and specifically Defender for Cloud servers. So Let's talk about Defender for App Service now. So Microsoft Defender for App Service uses the scale of the cloud to identify attacks targeting sort of applications running over your app service, which is an Azure service. Attackers probe web applications to find and exploit any weaknesses. Before being routed to sort of specific environments, requests to applications running in Azure go through several different gateways where they're inspected and logged. This data is then used to identify exploits and attackers and to learn the sort of new patterns that will be used potentially later on down the line. When you enable Defender for App Service, you immediately benefit from different service offerings that are offered in this Defender plan. They include Secure, which is basically the Defender for App Service assesses the resources covered by your app service plan and generates security recommendations based on its findings. And you can use detailed instructions in these recommendations that we've seen in other services to harden your app service resources. You then got Detect. So Defender for App Service detects a multitude of threats to your app service resources by monitoring the VM instance in which the app service is running and the management interface. The request and response sent to and from the app service apps, and the underlying sandboxes and VMs, as well as the app service internal logs available thanks to that sort of visibility that Azure has as a cloud provider. So let's talk about Defender for SQLs now before we move on to the next sort of area within this topic. Microsoft Defender for SQL servers detects anomalous activities indicating sort of unusual and potentially harmful attempts to access or exploit databases on the SQL server. You'll see alerts when there are suspicious database activities, potential vulnerabilities or SQL injection attacks, and anomalous database access and query patterns. Microsoft Defender for SQL servers on machines extends to sort of protections for the Azure native SQL servers to fully support hybrid environments and protect SQL servers hosted in Azure, multi-cloud environments, and even on-premises machines as well. And it includes like SQL Server on virtual machines, on-premises SQL servers, Azure Arc enabled SQL servers running on Windows machines without Azure Arc, and then multi-cloud SQL servers as well. So you can connect to AWS accounts to Microsoft Defender Cloud, and obviously we know we can connect GCP as well. Let's now move on to talking about designing a solution for integrating hybrid and multi-cloud environments by using Azure Arc. So focus a little bit more on Azure Arc now. So some of the key scenarios that Azure Arc supports are implementing consistent inventory management and governance and security for servers across your environment. Configuring Azure VM extensions to use Azure management services to monitor, secure, and update your servers. 3, 2, 1. You can manage and govern Kubernetes clusters at scale. You can use GitOps to deploy configuration across one or more clusters from your Git repositories. You've got zero trust compliance and sort of configuration for Kubernetes clusters running on and using Azure policy. You can run Azure data services on AKS or Kubernetes environments as if it runs in Azure. Specifically Azure SQL managed instances and Azure database for PostgreSQL server with benefits such as upgrades, updates, security, and monitoring. You can use Elastic Scale and apply updates without any sort of application downtime, even without sort of continuous connection to Azure. You can create custom locations on top of your Azure Arc enabled Kubernetes clusters using them as sort of a target location for deploying Azure service instances. Deploy your Azure service cluster as well, cluster extensions for Azure Arc enabled data services, app services on Azure Arc, and Event Grid on Kubernetes. And finally, you can perform virtual machine lifecycle and management operations for sort of VMware, vSphere, and Azure Stack ACI environments as well, sort of getting a unified experience viewing your Azure Arc enabled resources. We'll have a look at that in the demo as well. You can use Azure CLI, Azure PowerShell, REST APIs, and all those cool things as well. So what we see here is a bit of the Azure Arc landing zone sort of overview. I know it's a bit small maybe, but essentially enterprises are currently building and running applications across various ecosystems on premises, in multiple public clouds, and on the edge. When you're working with these sort of distributed environments, it's critical that you find a way to ensure compliance and manage those servers, applications, and data at scale while still maintaining agility. The Azure Landing Zone provides sort of a specific architectural approach, and there's lots of reference architecture out there, including the CAF model, Cloud Adoption Framework, and the WAF, the Well Architected Framework as well. You've got a set of reference implementations that can help you prepare your landing zones for sort of mission critical technology platforms and supported workloads. Azure landing zones are designed with hybrid and multi-cloud in mind. So to support hybrid and multi-cloud, the reference architecture requires two sort of additions. You've got hybrid and multi-cloud connectivity, you've got unified operations as well. So we are now ready for the demo. So I'm going to jump into the Azure portal. We're going to look at Azure Arc, have a look at some of the features available to it, and what, again, if when you're managing your system through Azure Arc, what you as a kind of admin see. So please join me in the demo. Oh, welcome back. We're now in the demo portal on my IMIT Geek portal, which we've been using. And we're in the Azure portal.azure.com. And again, just to get to where I am now, which is the Azure Arc Blade or the Azure Arc sort of dashboard, you just need to go to search and just type in Arc and it'll find it for you. So this is the sort of overview, but as you can see on the left-hand side, we have a lot of different options that we can look at to sort of get integrating with our different multi-cloud on-premises and Azure services. So here we can see there's two main sort of resources that we support here. We've got machines, which is going to be your virtual machines. And this is going to just list all your Azure Arc enabled VMs, right? And then we've got Kubernetes clusters again. You can add those at the top here. You can create a Kubernetes cluster with Azure Arc or add a Kubernetes cluster. So you've got an existing cluster, maybe in a different, maybe in AWS or GCP. You can onboard that. Same with your VMs. You can either add a machine or you can create a machine in a sort of connected host environment. So again, you can actually onboard. So when, if you go back to my Azure Stack HCI videos, you can see that I had hosts. I had actual virtual hosts as sort of machines within Azure Arc. Again, from host environments, we can see what's supported here. We've got Azure Stack HCI, which obviously I've done some videos on already. We've got VMware vCenter, and then we've got SC VMM management servers as well. So again, you can full explanation on how to get started. You can download the software for Azure Stack HCI. You can deploy Azure Stack HCI. Same with vCenter here. You can actually add an existing. You can connect to an existing vCenter. And you can add that to Azure. And that'll onboard in here, and then you can start managing those virtual machines as well. Same with SC VMM, you can create a management server there. So from data service perspective, again, we've got sort of SQL Server instances, SQL Manage, PostgreSQL, which is in preview, and data connect controllers. And again, as you go into all these, you'll see you can manage them. Obviously, at the top here, you can manage all your resources here, but these are sort of the individual management areas here. Again, you can add servers, add your SQL instances, connect them, and register them. So if you have got like an on-premises lab, I recommend trying to onboard it into Azure Arc and doing those management tasks. Obviously a bit newer now, I've got the Internet of Things becoming quite prominent, the more sort of services that come in, the more forward we go with technology. IoT is quite important, like security cameras and all these sort of sensors and stuff like that. Currently in preview, but again, you can onboard the AIO extensions and AI instances as well into Azure Arc. Then goes application services. Again, we can see app services, currently in preview, container apps in preview. Everything's in preview essentially because it's quite a new service for Azure Arc. Container API, container apps, API management, event grids, and function apps and logic apps as well. So these can all be managed. You can build and deploy and manage those at scale. Again, you can integrate those with all your multi-cloud services as well. And then if you need licenses, SQL licensing, extended security updates, and single ASU licenses as well. And finally, from a management perspective, this is where you can add your multi-cloud. So we talked about creating multi-cloud connectors. You can create AWS. This is where you can create all your AWS or your GCP. So we've got AWS account there, and you can create the connectors from multi-cloud connectors here. So you can use custom locations. You can map your on-premises and other infrastructure environments to Azure as well. You can create and manage those virtual machines, operate infrastructure, and run your services like Azure Functions in your downstream data centers. This is more for kind of identity service principles. These are going to be used for automated authentication during the onboarding process of Azure Arc resources. And then you've got your resource bridges. So this was quite important when I was doing the Azure Stack HCI stuff. So your resource bridge is a packaged virtual machine which is built in Kubernetes, a management cluster. It requires no sort of user management, and the virtual appliance helps customers enable VM self-serving on premises from Azure without them needing to create and manage any Kubernetes clusters from scratch. And you've got private link scopes as well. So this is obviously from a networking perspective. Azure Arc Private Link is kind of link scope that enables you to access Azure PaaS services and Azure hosted customer-owned services over a private endpoint in your virtual network rather than over the internet. Finally, you've got some DevOps templates as well. So that was a quick overview. I just wanted to give you an idea of sort of Azure Arc and some of the features available in it. If you have like an on-premises lab, I don't. If you do have an on-premises lab or maybe AWS account or GCP, integrate it. Why not have a play with it? It's only a demo lab. What's the worst that you can do, right? So yeah, hopefully you've gained a lot from that. As I said, we're going to be got a couple more parts to topic 13, which I'm going to be going into. We've got loads of useful links in the description below. A link to the GitHub repository where the case studies are. We'll try and have a look at those maybe in one of the last episodes. Might just do a quick special episode around the use cases and look at the GitHub repository. There's a link to Microsoft Learn, link to my other series as well, like the linked series like the SC 300, the SC 200 as well, because they're kind of linked to this exam, I suppose. SC 100's architecting, all that sort of stuff. And finally, I've got a link to the Measure Up practice exam, with a discount as well. So I do recommend, Measure Up are the official exam topic, sort of exam practice exam, say, kind of company for Microsoft. So they're a partner. So I would suggest you invest in that, because again, it's going to help you with your prep. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for your continued support. Until next time, goodbye.